fight against AI is here. You know, the negative uses of AI, and there are plenty of negative uses for it. As we try to convey positive choices with AI, you know, we try to promote it. But it's, you know, we can't not talk about what's happening with the SAG-AFTRA strike, the writer's strike, the actor strike that's going on. What are your initial thoughts about this?
Well, you've been reading up a little more on this. Does this happen just about every year now? I can't remember if it's
The last
or
one
every few years.
let me see. So I'll tell you right. The last time there was a writer's strike, I feel like it was in the early 2000s.
Okay, 2008, I think.
Yeah, that sounds about right. There was a writer's strike in 2008, and it affected a lot of shows like Heroes. I think 24 was one of them, and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
No, but there's one that's happening again, but this time it's for digital rights.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
Yeah, so that's the big thing. You know, we're in the time of Netflix, Hulu, Disney Plus, and people aren't getting paid their residuals. That's one of the biggest fights. The writer of the first episode of She-Hulk said he only made $396.
Whoa.
Yeah, whereas, you know, Disney's making millions of dollars.
Yeah.
The writer, you know,
Creator. That's whack right there.
It is. It's bad. You know, there. You know, and now the other fight is the negative use of AI, and people are saying the use of AI, but I think they need to kind of like bring it down to the negative use of AI, because there are positives to this, as we saw. Like, I keep on bringing it up. I think this may be the third or fourth time I bring it up. Secret Invasion uses AI for their intro, but no one got fired, no one got replaced. You know, everyone worked together. There was a team.
They're using it to a balance. Then it sounds like, is what you're saying. They're not going overboard with it.
Yeah,
which is basically like, you know, that's kind of our premise for the art that we're showing or hearing or sharing in general. Just is that it's
Yeah, it's very interesting to me, and there are some very major things like the use of likeness. You know, so one major negative of is face scanning through AI, where they want to have like background actors have their faces scanned and only get paid for one day's worth of work.
Okay, so extras would be background, but what would normally take like a week, they're basically putting them on one day, like you said, and then they got them.
They're paying, and they're, you know, like they could scan mine and yours face, which in all realities and respects, you could think that, you know, where was I getting at with this?
That could happen.
Yeah, I lost my thought.
That's the problem with it, is there's so many possibilities right now with it. There's like it's a gap going on right now where we can't really put a thumb on it, because it's like we're in the middle. And don't forget, like, this is almost like with how the cell phone was for the generation 10 years ago or 20. I don't know. It's the new thing. It's
Yeah, well, now they're doing the face scans. They face scan me and you. They say, oh, you're going to be in the background in Love Knows No Fury, whatever the movie is, right? And, you know, where me and you are in the background sitting there, but, you know, if they go, let's say we're sitting in a coffee shop, but me and you are always at that coffee shop, our faces are going to be there, but we only get paid for one day's work, whereas the movie's making millions of dollars. And we're only making one day's worth of work, no royalties, none of that stuff. But yeah,
you
again,
almost have to become a professional background person then. to make a living.
They're out there. They're out there.
They are definitely.
So again, the one major negative of face scanning through AI where people do not get paid for their likeness is the potential violation of individuals' rights to their own image and identity. There's a lack of compensation when the AI is used to scan and replicate someone's facial likeness without their consent or proper compensation. It can result in individuals being denied the opportunity to monetize their own image. This can be particularly concerning when their likeness is used in commercial endeavors such as movies, advertisements, video games, where profits are generated. There's the exploitation and loss of control, like without proper consent or compensation. Individuals may feel exploited or have a sense of loss of control over their own image. They may object to their likeness being used in the context that they do not agree with or find objectionable, which can have significantly emotional and reputational consequences.
Creative control.
Yeah. Infringement of privacy. Facial scanning through AI, it raises privacy concerns as it involves capturing and processing personal biometric data. But the individuals may not be aware of how their facial data is being used, stored, shared, and that could lead to a loss of privacy and potential misuse of their personal information. And, this kind of leads into what if the adult industry gets their hands on this? They can do whatever they want, and it's going to get
almost an inevitability.
And it's getting worse, which leads me into the potential for misuse and deepfakes. Facial data captured through AI can be misused to create the deepfakes or manipulated content that can be used for malicious purposes, such as spreading misinformation, defaming individuals, or engaging in identity theft. This can harm an individual's reputation and have wider societal implications. And then, of course, there's the legal and ethical implications, like the use of facial scanning without consent or appropriate compensation may raise legal and ethical concerns related to intellectual property rights, privacy laws, and the right to control one's own image. It can lead to legal disputes and calls for stronger regulations to protect individuals' rights in the digital era. As we used to be in the on-demand era. And I feel like that was from 2012 to 2020. And then we had to find a new way for entertainment where people were doing everything digitally and scanning themselves and doing green screens through Zoom and things like that. So it became a different world. So now we are in the digital era. We are in the future without the flying cars and the cool buildings and the cool lit up cyber drinks and stuff like that. We're along. Yeah. No, but let's go to. So I'm going to break down a couple pros and cons because there are pros to this.
Absolutely.
There are pros, like enhanced visual effects. Okay, this will enable filmmakers to create breathtaking visual effects that were previously challenging or time-consuming to achieve, leading to more immersive and visually stunning movies and video games and television shows. Like Death Stranding is about to come out. Death Stranding 2 is going to be released probably next year or the year after.
Okay.
And it, if you look at Hideo Kojima's Instagram, you could see he's constantly posting updates on it, and you can't hide from the fact that AI is part of our everyday life. We use it. We had an episode. We use it on our phones. We use it with Google.
We've had a few examples on our podcast. That one that you had, you played back for me that a friend did for you of me and you voices at least. That was an early example right there.
Yeah. Visual effects. That now there's also streamlined post-production. There could be automated tools with various post-production processes such as color grading, video editing, sound design. It just makes the workflow more efficient and reducing time and costs. Mm-hmm. Okay, this would be such a good way for studios to be able to save money and pay their cast and crew. And again, no one needs to get fired. These are all things that everyone can work together on. realistic CGI characters. Even though we just talked about the use of face scan, if they could make realistic CGI characters, like the algorithms can generate highly realistic computer-generated characters, allowing filmmakers to create compelling and believable digital actors, creatures, and environments.
That could be a hit or miss.
That can be a hit or miss. So we'll put that in the gray area. Improve pre-visualization. AI-powered software assist in pre-visualization, allowing filmmakers to create detailed virtual storyboards, animatics, and 3D simulations, aiding in planning and visualization of complex scenes. We're just a couple years shy away from schools teaching this stuff because AI cannot run without us.
I'm glad you said that, because that's kind of what I was picturing for like early kids in art class and Midjourney's a nice clean example of that, because they do not allow such language in their AI, which is kind of a rare thing that I see. So the fact that you mentioned it, I could kind of picture like kids early on in introduction to that kind of stuff. Not too much, because you still need to factor, go with their own natural creativity.
Yeah. And
first.
Absolutely. And, again, coming back to environments and visualization of complex scenes, these things can work, and it's not to eliminate your crew. It's to help them make the process go a little faster so that we can have a more uptick with our films and TV shows. It would help a lot. And look, I'm a fan of the old school way of things, like how Kevin Costner does his shows and movies, where it's all like no green screen, it's right there. The same thing with Christopher Nolan. They're using these techniques that still work today, that could still make a great movie or TV show. There's data-driven decision-making. The analytics and data processing tools can help studios analyze audience preferences, predict box office performance, and optimize marketing strategy, leading to better informed decision-making. If they really want to make their money, they can use this. But again, pay your workers.
Yes.
And this is the sixth positive: efficient script writing and storytelling. AI algorithms can assist in generating story ideas, analyzing scripts, and providing insights on character development, pacing, plot structures, aiding in the creativity process. We have spoken about this, how there is a way to use the GPTs and all these other AI chatbots. You can go in and say, hey, can you write me a story about Jack and Jill doing God knows what on a hill? Yep. And it'll come up with its own thing. But how many other people are writing the same thing and they're getting the same answer?
I've wondered that,
Right. So
there hasn't been an example that I've seen.
Yeah. So so one of the biggest things that I use the ChatGPT for is to help with podcast descriptions. Here's my rundown from today's episode of DD214. I put it in the list. I say, can you help me revise this or correct my mistakes and check my grammar to make my description a little more readable. I don't have I have confidence in my writing, but I know that there's room for more.
Oh yeah.
And that's why I let the AI in. I don't have the money or the resources to find or to pay someone the money to edit these things, so I have to find it my own way. But instead of just saying, give me this, if you have a story, put 3 paragraphs of that story into the bot. Mm-hmm. Put it into the AI. Ask it, what would you change? What would make this better? Is there something that I'm missing?
Right.
If you have characters, is there something about this character that doesn't make sense that can help me develop that person more, that whoever the writer is can't think of?
A creative I Ching. I think of I Ching for some reason. I think it might have to do with a favorite author of mine. He used, he didn't have AI around at this time, but that's what I'm thinking of there. It's a very similar kind of aspect to it.
Yeah.
Creatively.
Yep. And now we're going to get into some negatives. One of the, you know, we talked about the non-payment and that, but now we have job displacement. You know, AI automates certain tasks, so there is a concern that it can lead to job losses for professionals involved in visual effects, editing, and other areas traditionally performed by humans, including acting. A lack of human touch. I am a fan of actors who have chemistry with each other. I am a fan of that human emotion that makes that movie or television show so great. You know, so you know the AI generated visual effects or characters may lack the subtle nuances of emotional depth that human artists can bring, potentially resulting in a more sterile or artificial feel in films.
Where it can be seen as not necessarily with CGI, it can be a hit or miss. I'm thinking of certain Star Wars episodes where it can be a great thing or a bad thing. Kind of that's
Absolutely.
what I'm picturing.
And here comes another one, a big one. Ethical concerns. The use of AI raises ethical questions, such as the potential for deepfake technology to be misused or for AI-generated content to infringe on intellectual property. Yep. Then we have the dependence on technology. Over-reliance on the tools may lead to a diminished emphasis on practical effects, physical sets, and traditional filmmaking techniques, potentially impacting the overall creativity and craftsmanship in films. You know, the things that make these films so good. This one is very concerning, is bias and stereotyping. If the AI algorithms are trained on biased or limited data sets, they may perpetuate stereotypes or reinforce existing social biases, leading to inaccuracies or misrepresentations in film.
It's definitely a possibility.
Yeah, there's certain things that we can't say on the podcast, you know, due to whatever the algorithms and that YouTube and, you know, Spotify, Apple, and what they have. Bias and stereotyping is going to be everywhere, and the major thing that I'm afraid of is that we're going to see a more comfortable use of it.
Yes, definitely.
A more comfortable use of it. And then there's security risks. AI systems used in film production could be vulnerable to cybersecurity threats, posing risks of unauthorized access, data breaches, or misuse of sensitive information.
What was the last part? The sensitive information?
Yep, and sensitive information. And I got a couple more negatives, and then I'll jump back into positives to end it positively. Okay. The learning curve and dependency of implementing AI technologies requires a learning curve and training for film industry professionals, and reliance on AI systems could create dependency, making it challenging to adapt or transition without them. You know, algorithmic bias in casting. They may unintentionally reinforce stereotypes or biases by favoring certain characteristics or demographics, potentially perpetuating underrepresentation or misrepresentation in films. This is, you know, I know we're kind of repeating it again, but this is something that needs to be addressed.
I was thinking, doesn't that happen already too, though?
Yeah. You know, creative limitations over reliance on the generated content may lead to a homogenization of visual styles and storytelling approaches, potentially limiting the diversity and innovation in filmmaking.
It just seems like the cons are so much heavier than the pros.
They really are. You know, when you
pack more of a punch.
You know, when you say it out loud, it is you get that lump in your throat, and not a comfortable one either. You know what I mean?
A very expensive one way or another.
You ever seen that episode of Seinfeld? Joe Davola calls Jerry. He's like, "There's a hair on my tongue. You put it there." You know?
No, I haven't seen that one.
Yeah, it's a great clip. It's such a great clip, and you know, we're putting the hair on the tongue, you know, so to speak, and again, we want to keep AI positive. We want to keep it in the light because there are positive uses of it. But there are bad people out there. But some of the rest of the positives that we have is like accessibility features. The power technologies can provide closed captions, audio descriptions, language translations, making films more accessible to individuals with hearing or visual impairments. Personalized viewing experiences with algorithms can analyze viewer preferences and behavior to provide personalized recommendations, leading to more tailored movie suggestions and potentially enhancing the overall viewing experience.
Like the participatory episodes of certain Netflix series?
Yeah.
Or not series, movies. Little movies.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Natural language processing. I think this is a big positive because the AI-driven models can assist in script analysis and provide insights into dialogue, tone, and language patterns, aiding in script refinement and character development. I was saying this before, it can really help you, especially if you have a specific person who doesn't know about a specific culture. Maybe Google, because can we really trust, Wikipedia is a user-edited platform. And then you have the History Channel, which History Channel used to be about history, but not so much anymore. Now it's alien TV shows, and another one that we have here is automation scene recognition, and what that means is that the algorithms can analyze and categorize footage based on visual elements, enabling proficient organization and retrieval of specific scenes or shots during the editing process.
So a more efficient editing process all around,
with green screens, things like that. Like it would be more
catching
smoother.
gaffes,
stuff
like that.
And then there's the last positive: virtual cinematography. It's AI-powered virtual cameras can simulate different camera angles and movements, enabling filmmakers to explore creative shots and perspectives without the need for physical cameras or elaborate setups.
I think I had this talk with you last week about Harrison Ford and the new movie that he's got out, the new Indiana Jones movie.
Yeah.
And they were able to use all the years that him and George worked together, from this angle, this age, this light, put all those together, and they were able to, cut to a scene where he was back in the 40s or in the early 1910s, and that's how they pretty much did it, was AI.
It works. It does work, but but like we said today, it does have its misuses. It's no secret, but there's not. Everyone's talking about the bad of it, but there's not enough people talking about the good of it, and there is good to talk about of it. And if we're the only ones or one of the few 100,000 people that talk about it, then so be it. We will continue to spread the proper information to talk about how AI can be used in a proper setting to help your everyday life instead of finding it to make your life easier.
I'd say some of it's just to scare people that are just minusculely interested in it away, too. Like, if you're not going to be into this kind of stuff, it really isn't too much of a hobby that you can just kind of nitpick. It's something we've actually kind of gotten into and put some
we grew
time
up with it.
Into.
We grew up with it.
That's true.
They've been talking about this stuff since before. Since before we were
You're
in the
right.
military.
I forget. But it wasn't even when I was you're kids.
But it wasn't so. It wasn't. But the conversations were about, oh, it's here. We're gonna die. The conversations were, oh, that kid, this is gonna happen. Oh, it'll never happen. And the ones, oh yeah, it'll happen. But it was already there.
It goes slow. It works slow.
It was already there. Do you not think?
Creeping up.
But to. Again, the SAG-AFTRA. This is an important strike, and a lot of shows are not going to get continued. A lot of shows are off production right now, and that's okay, because wouldn't you want to fight for better pay if you felt like you were getting You know, you
Oh,
were
yeah,
getting the
definitely.
shit hand. You know, so there's a lot to think about here.
Hollywood's just gotten hit so hard in the last 10 years. I mean, if it ain't an epidemic, it's been, it's
A
been
controversy.
strikes or this, yeah.
You know, it's still a beautiful world, and we could still make it beautiful by embracing the future.
Yeah. And we can make some cool stuff still, and not horrendous stuff.
Exactly. So, guys, that was episode 40 of The Artificial Mind. We appreciate you coming every week, checking out the show. I'm so glad that you guys enjoy TAM Radio.
Yeah.
You know,
I enjoyed it so much I had listened to it a couple times.
TAM Radio was really good. I had so much fun with that one. Can't wait to do it again. Leave us a voicemail, send us suggestions, leave a review, tell us what you think. We don't know how good or bad we're doing unless you review us. You know, just write a little comment in the thing there, let us know how we're doing, and, you know, check out our merch. You go to www.cleansanchezmedia.com and go over to the artificial mind picture of Tam's eyes there. You know, you just click her eyes, and over in the Clean Sanchez Media website, and all the links will be there for the merch. Next episode, we're going to do coins. We're going to be designing coins.
That'll be cool.
Which I'm super excited about. It's going to be really cool. I'm gonna attempt to put myself on the coin.
Uh-oh.
I
think it'll be an interesting piece. I'm sure.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. But guys, check us out next week. We appreciate you. Thank you so much, and live long and prosper.